morning, everyone, and very warm welcome to Signia Healthcare. And today we are bringing Dr. Sangeeta Subudhi, a senior consultant in pediatrics, to talk to us about back to school. And I'm very sure that most of you joining us today here is to understand what to take care when we send our children back to school, whether they are going back to whatever grade that they are going to, or they are going to college. So I'm sure that you all have those questions in your mind. And so you'll just give me 1 minute so that I can make the Facebook go live, and then I will be inviting Dr. Sangeeta in a minute. Just give me 2 minutes, please. We are going live on Facebook. One second. So you can tell your friends if they want to join by Facebook. They can. You can tell them also. It's a Signia Healthcare Services.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. We have a very small attendee also, very young attendee also in today's webinar. That's very, very sweet.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. We are going live. So Dr. Sangeeta, I think, is not able to stay back after hearing Haya's voice, looks like. So she has already come on video. That's very, very nice of you. And so I'm just typing to get back to.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, I am Brahmjot Singh.
I'm Lam Singh.
No,
Okay, we have a lot of little ones coming to learn what to do when they go to school. Wow, just give me a minute. Uh, okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, I think we're just going live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sangeeta, you will have to talk their language also a little bit, I guess.
Yes, yes. I will try that.
Looks like. Okay, we are live. So we have already got. Okay, Dr. Sangeeta, a very, very warm welcome to Signia Healthcare's webinar, and this is going to be a, different kind of a webinar, I guess, because we have got parents and we have a couple of kids also in our audience. That is very, very happy thing to happen on a Sunday. I'm very happy to see those kids' faces. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and to address our audience and kids as to what to do when they go back to school, because COVID-19 has actually played havoc in our life, that we all know that how much we all have been held up at home, and the kids have been always on online classes, and it has got its own repercussions on children as well as parents. And when these are expected to open. I think the problem is double-edged. One way saying okay they'll get back to school, the other way the fear of corona and what to take care when they go back. So thank you very much, and to all the audience, Dr. Sangeeta Subudhi. She's a very well-known senior pediatric consultant, and she works with Fortis Vasant Kunj, and I have known her since I came to Delhi. I think from 2006 onwards, and she has taken care of my son. And when my family used to come to Delhi, even their kids, I have taken them to her, and she's got a very unique way of managing the children. And Dr. Sangeeta has over 24 years of experience, and she is very active in all the medical associations. She has received awards, and well, today is not the day to talk about it, but she's a very good singer also. So I believe that anyone who's got an artistic blend, they tend to be very kind, and they are very kind to children. So thank you so much. I will not take much of time. I'm going to hand over the podium to Dr. Sangeeta to conduct this, and a couple of requests from all the audience that please stay muted. And if you are on video, please make sure that your camera is still so that it's not moving. Okay, that would be preferred. And as Dr. Sangeeta is telling, in case you have any queries, please put it in the chat box, and I will be noting the questions in the chat box, and we will request Dr. Sangeeta to answer them when she finishes with her deliberation. And definitely, we would love to answer all the questions that you have. And thank all of you for being here today. And without you, I don't think that we will be able to start this at all. It's nice to see so many people logged in. We are already live on the Facebook, and we are recording this for future viewing. It will be available on our Signia Healthcare's YouTube channel. So Dr. Sangeeta can be seen even after this session is over. So you can go and look at that, what was the advice given. So thank you once again, Dr. Sangeeta, and thank you everyone who is in the audience today. And let's have a refreshing look at back to school on Sunday morning. Thank you very much, all of you. Yes, Dr. Sangeeta, it's all yours now.
Thank you, Thankam. It's such a pleasure that you called. I've got this chance to interact with everyone. Thank you for everything. So I'll share my screen now. I'm audible, right? Great. Yeah. So good morning to everyone, to all parents, and to our special little children who have come listening. I hope I can talk in the same language and they can understand me. So I'll be talking about back to school. Now, since this coronavirus has come since last December, and WHO declared it a pandemic since January end. So we are dealing with this new pandemic, and our learning curve has been since the last 8 months only. So we are still learning, and hopefully we adequately do justice to this topic. This screen shows the structure of the coronavirus. It has these spikes on top of this, ovular structure. So what do we know so far about this COVID-19 that we call it? For children. Now, the pediatric coronavirus disease is very mild. So far, we've seen. It has a better prognosis. Prognosis meaning the outcome is much better. The mortality, that is the death rate, is quite rare. Now, the asymptomatic means children having the virus but not showing symptoms. they contribute to the transmission of the disease in the community. And the diagnosis is by the RT-PCR test. That also is a special test to detect. And this is the gold standard so far. I've taken a screenshot of the WHO dashboard, and it shows the global incidence. As you can see, the number of cases are rising. This snapshot was from yesterday, and you can see India is number 2 with so many cases. I don't want to read the figures because figures sound very depressing. But the only good thing is that our mortality in India is not as high as other countries, but the number of cases are increasing. Symptoms of coronavirus, I put this poster from the CDC. We refer to CDC and WHO websites for authentic information. And CDC has a lot of good charts for download for everyone. So I would request all teachers and anyone dealing with child care to have all these posters downloaded, printed, and put up in different areas of the school or premises. They're lovely posters there. So the symptoms of coronavirus, you must be knowing some of this is a little bit of repetition, but the main symptoms are like fever, there's cough, there's some throat pain, there's some headache. So the symptoms may be mild or it may be severe. Severe will be more like, shortness of breath, trouble breathing, there's persistent pain or pressure in the chest. And because of oxygen deficiency, you may have bluish lips. That's when you have to, anyway, talk to your caregiver. Symptoms start appearing even after 2 days of exposure and up to even 2 weeks. So that's why this quarantine period or isolation periods are advised. Now, it came in the paper recently, 3-4 days back, that schools are now ready for opening. Now, to go with the school openings, the government of India, they have set a lot of rules. These rules are now available with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. I went to the site and wrote these rules. It's a little busy slides now, a few of them, but they're very important to talk through. So we can discuss this, right? So all these measures need to be observed by all. That means all the teachers, the employees, and the students at these places at all times. These include physical distancing. Now, they say physical distancing of at least 6 feet to be followed as far as feasible. 6 feet is about 2 meters. And the use of face covers or masks to be made mandatory for everyone. Frequent hand washing with soap for at least 40 to 60 seconds. If I say more, at least some of it will be followed. Even when hands are not visibly dirty. Use of an alcohol-based hand sanitizers for at least 20 seconds can be done wherever feasible. Respiratory etiquettes to be strictly followed. That means the strict practice of covering one's mouth and nose while coughing or sneezing with a tissue, handkerchief, or a flexed elbow and disposing of used tissues properly. Self-monitoring of the health by all and reporting of any illness at the earliest. Spitting shall be prohibited. Installation and use of Arogya Setu app may be advised wherever possible. All schools. Now, the Delhi government is opening classes from 9 to 12. and they shall specifically ensure the following arrangements: that online and distance learning shall continue to be permitted and shall be encouraged. Students of class 9 to 12 shall be permitted to visit their school on voluntary basis, taking guidance from their teachers. This will be subject to written consent of their parents and guardians. Such visits and teacher-student interaction must be organized in a staggered manner. Before opening of the school, so schools outside the containment zones shall be allowed to open. Further, students, teachers, and employees living in containment zones will not be allowed to attend school. Students, teachers, and employees shall also be advised not to visit areas falling within containment zones. Prior to resumption of activities, all work areas intended for teaching and demonstration, etc., including laboratories, mind you, other common utility areas shall be sanitized with 1% sodium hypochlorite solution with particular attention to frequently touched surfaces. Schools that were used as quarantine centers will be properly sanitized and deep cleaned before partial functioning is resumed. The guidelines issued by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare for disinfection of common public places, including offices, may be referred to this in regard. And this is available on the websites. The concerned teaching and non-teaching employees, that's up to 50% of the strength, may be called to the schools for online teaching, telecounseling, and related work. Students from class 9 to 12 will have the option of attending classes remotely, virtually, or physically only on a voluntary basis for guidance from their teachers, subject to written permission of parent and guardian. Biometric attendance, as you know, we need to have alternate arrangements. At all times, the teachers and students shall maintain a physical distancing of 6 feet apart wherever feasible. Scheduling of activities and seating plans shall be made accordingly. Ensure hand washing facilities along with provision of soap. For ensuring queue management inside and outside the premises, specific markings on the floor with a gap of 6 feet may be made. Similarly, physical distancing shall also be maintained in staff rooms, office areas, that is the reception area, and other places like the libraries, cafeterias. Weather permitting, outdoor spaces can be utilized for conducting teacher-student interactions, keeping in view the safety and security of students and physical distancing protocols. Assemblies, sports events that can lead to overcrowding are strictly prohibited. The school should display the state helpline numbers and also numbers of health authorities, etc., to teachers, students, employees to contact in case of emergencies. For air conditioning and ventilation. See, for ventilation, all this, the windows should be open. There should be fresh air as much as possible. For air conditioning, if they are used, then special HEPA filters need to be installed. The lockers of students will remain in use if they are there, as long as physical distancing and regular disinfection is maintained. Swimming pools, if they are there, are to remain shut. I put this poster, this was also available on the CDC website. So I want these posters at different areas like the bathrooms or the libraries or the reception areas or even in the classroom notice boards, so that, you know, the students, the teachers have a checklist. They keep measuring their own hygiene, or the students, they keep monitoring that the disinfection is happening and they are also following those guidelines. Now, the availability and management of supplies. We need appropriate backup of stock of personal protection
आज
items
नहीं
like
टिफिन दे के आए थे 10 के करीब 10:30.
uh, personal protection items like face covers and masks, visors, hand sanitizers shall be made available by the management to the teachers and the employees. Adequate supply of thermal guns, the alcohol wipes, sodium hypochlorite solutions, disposable paper towels, soap, everything used to protect against COVID. Pulse oximeter should also be arranged. Ensure availability of sufficient covered dustbins and trash cans. Need to
Excuse me,
follow the biomedical waste guidelines on COVID that is available at this website.
Dr. Sangeeta,
Housekeeping and
just a second.
yeah.
Let me request everyone to mute themselves, please. It is a little bit of disturbance. When you are speaking in between, just make sure that you are muted. Otherwise, Dr. Sangeeta, what I'll do, I'm going to mute everyone and you unmute yourself. Yeah?
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
going to mute everyone and then you can, let me just do that. I'm muting all. So now, okay, now you can unmute.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr.
I'm
Sangeeta.
audible now? Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are audible. Yes. You're audible,
So,
Dr. Sangeeta.
yeah. So, the proper disposal of the used personal protective items and general waste should be according to the guidelines. They are available at the websites for biomedical waste, and these need to be followed. The housekeeping employees are to be informed and trained about the norms of waste management and disposal. A word about hygiene and sanitation. The daily cleaning of the floor shall be taken up. Provision of soap in the toilets and hand sanitizers in other common areas in sufficient supply must be ensured. The cleaning and regular disinfection using 1% sodium hypochlorite, even silver nanoparticles are also being used, or frequently touched surfaces like doorknobs, buttons, handrails, chairs, benches, washroom fixtures. They should be mandatory in all classrooms, labs, lockers, parking areas, other common areas before beginning of classes and at the end of the day. Teaching materials like computers, laptop, printers shall be disinfected with 70% alcohol wipes. Deep cleaning of all drinking and hand washing stations, washrooms, and laboratories shall be ensured. Students and employees should be advised to dispose of used face covers and masks in separate covered bins placed in classrooms, workstations, and other common areas. The same may be stored in bins for 3 days and disposed of as dry general solid waste after cutting and shredding. Students should not be involved in any of the cleaning activities for healthy safety reasons. Now, what kind of masks are used? This was from CDC. Fabric masks are recommended to prevent onward transmission in the general population in public areas, particularly where distancing is not possible and in areas of community transmission. This could include the school grounds in some situations. Masks may help to protect others because wearers may be infected even before symptoms of illness appear. The policy on wearing a mask or face covering should be in line with national or local guidelines. Where used, masks should be worn, cared for, and disposed of properly. It is important that anyone feeling unwell should stay at home. I would like to emphasize this. It is important that anyone feeling unwell should stay at home and call their health provider. So this was from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Right now, what problems we are facing during lockdown, I'm sure you must all be facing as teachers, as parents. Everybody's hooked to their mobile. Everybody's high strung. They break into tears if internet breaks.
Ma?
There's erratic sleep. Reminder alerts are on the phone. There's very less physical activity. Children are also less talkative. And on top of that, parents are worried too because of their job, the economic conditions for their kids, and generally. What are the challenges faced by parents? How to keep children busy? Ensuring education does not suffer. Lack of physical activity. The shift of focus to food, the TV, there's screen time, video gaming, online activities. Everything has shifted to the screen now. Is screen addiction. How can we help? I would say communication. Communication with kids is very important. You know, even with the lockdown, I'm sure everyone is having meal times together. At least bonding can happen more in these times. A friendly chat allows the child to visit his fears, the anxieties. I am seeing even 3-year-olds saying, "Oh my gosh, there's coronavirus." So that's a little scary. But I'm sure a friendly chat, you know, or allaying their fears, talking to persons more well versed, or there are parent friendly sites that you can visit. And you know, it's there's no point to be anxious or having those kind of mental problems. A regular timetable for studies, physical activity, food and sleep. You know, if schools are out, that doesn't mean that you sleep at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and waking up at 10 a.m. You need a regular time table, even in spite of everything that's going on. So, children need to sleep by 9 or 10, depending on their age groups, and wake up at the regular time when they used to wake up when they were catching the bus, right? So that they have regular times for sleep, waking up, and we can schedule physical activity accordingly, you know, wherever it's possible. And there's so many, you can do a group physical activity together, have fun. And regular meal times. I mean, in these days also, I'm seeing children are missing breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Remember that. Develop relations. Encourage reasonable social contact with extended family and friends. You know, we are not alone. We can talk to our friends. They're just a phone call away. And that's not screen time. So interacting with friends and family is a very good way to, you know, disperse fears. Have bonding with them as well. Keep an eye on problems faced by child. And like I said, communication is the way forward. We need to network with the class teacher and children and parents. They need to be on the same page. The teachers these days are doing a brilliant job. I would say hats off to our teachers. Be aware of red flags. Red flags here would mean if the child is facing physical problems, one, that you might be aware. But other problems would be, you know, if the child is very quiet, not eating well, not communicating, and that you can also get to know, you know, by, you know, the child's well-being. This is a very good time to catch up with all vaccines so that when school starts, you know, at least the vaccine associated illnesses are less. All the clinics are open in the city. Do catch up with your vaccination schedules. And you know, these days even the flu is in the air, so you can get the flu vaccine that's available. And nothing would be complete without a word about the COVID vaccines. So, you know, about 169 vaccines are in development, and around 69 are, you know, talked more often And out of them also, there are two that I would like to talk about. One is the Oxford vaccine, that is with AstraZeneca, and the other one is our homegrown vaccine, that's by Bharat Biotech. Now, people are asking, when is the vaccine going to be available? Well, as things are going, as the vaccine trials are going on, we are still on phase 2, and seeing the different results and everything. We might not get the results or vaccines before probably middle of next year. That is saying the earliest. So we have to live with COVID for at least the whole of next year. We need to be mentally prepared for that, and to do that, to set our expectations right. And with that, again, I would say we can't rely on that completely. So maintain the physical distancing as much as possible. Follow strict hand washing guidelines as where as possible. Thank you. Thank you for your kind listening and bearing with the presentation. Over to you, Thankam.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sangeeta's. That was very enlightening. I think there were a lot of knowledge imparted. So I'm going to request the audience here, since they have not typed any question. So I will ask the audience that they can unmute themselves, come on the video, and you can ask question one by one. Okay. So what I would like to summarize, as according to Dr. Sangeeta, I would like to summarize is that you have mentioned that at least till 2021, there is I don't know there's any story of there is nothing like that immediate respite from this corona for sure. So you also mentioned that the students from 9th to 12th class, not by force, they have to go voluntarily and the parents have to give consent. So I just want to reiterate to all the people sitting here, it just means that the school is not going to take full responsibility. They're saying parents are also equally responsible to ensure that the children who are going, they are also taking responsibility for themselves. Now, I would like to say, as a very common man, not even as a healthcare person, which I'm going to request all the people sitting here, and I will tell that in English and then I'll tell that in Hindi as well. If anyone, my humble request is that we talk about physical distance, we talk about masking, but unfortunately when we go out we see people behaving very normal as though corona has gone somewhere. It has not gone anywhere. It doesn't matter what class you are, what age you are, the corona is definitely there to be there. One blessing, as Dr. Sangeeta told, is that the children are not affected seriously, but we have reports also when they get affected seriously, then it becomes difficult to manage them also. So it makes it, nobody is immune, whether it is a child or an adult, nobody is immune to corona. So taking care of social distancing to ensure that when you're out, so when I go out, I see people standing very close to each other. Mask, but it is here, like the mask is like this here, and from the beginning, WHO, CDC, everyone says this area is where, that's why when you go to hospital, you see everyone wearing everything, covering from top to bottom. But in public, maybe we are not at that much of risk, and Dr. Sangeeta already told. There are asymptomatic carriers. That means they have corona, but they have no symptoms, no fever, no khasi, no bukhar, nothing, but they have corona. Standing, and that person is also not wearing mask, and they just happen to even be very close with you, no social distance. They're just no breathing normally. But normally the corona is also coming out. And then you can get the corona. So my humble request to everyone sitting here, not only that you learn, please teach your neighbors, friends, everyone. So I don't go out much. When I go out, every time I tell them, Bhaiya, upar, Bhaiya, upar. ये आपके लिए अच्छा है, मेरे लिए भी अच्छा है. ये करना habits. Imagine you go to school. You don't know from where all the kids are coming. Everybody is already at risk. Told also was that if you have any underlying diseases, you should refrain from going to public places and even to school also. You should informing. So I will ask you diseases that we should be taking care of, for those teachers and parents just to know. Not that children may be part of it, but still a little bit on the children's disease conditions in case they have some underlying why they should not be going to school, and for the adults. Yes, Dr. Sangeeta.
I didn't get the question. It was a little break in the.
Okay. The question was that if you can advise the group, what are those conditions that, we say underlying conditions, they predispose somebody to get corona faster, and if they get faster, they can be more sicker because they have an underlying condition. So two questions. One, is there something that we need to take care of children, any underlying condition, like children may have sometimes asthma or some underlying heart conditions or something like that. God forbid, there might be some, or the teachers and the parents, when they are going to school, the teachers going to school. So is there any category of people that they need to take extra care when, especially when 9 to 12 is going? They are not small kids, they are the older ones, and the teachers will also be going. So who should take care? Special care.
Well, the children having, taking medicines who are immunosuppressed, like, steroids, or children taking cancer treatments, or, sicker children that is having heart disease, or anyone taking immunosuppressive therapy, we call that, and children diabetes. These are children who are predisposed to get the illness faster and get sicker also. Disabled children also would be avoidable attending school. They should rather attend the virtual classes. Okay. And, I would also suggest that, children having parents also with, major problems or sick grandparents at home would avoid them also. So every family has a problem sometimes, and if too much going and coming happens, the other family members are also at risk. So I would put a word in for that also. So we need to judge all conditions before sending to school in situations.
Okay. So that's a very good point, Dr. Sangeeta, that you just brought out, that most of us may be having grandparents at home. And when children start going to school, they can bring back, because children, they can be asymptomatic and they can bring back. So would you advise that, they should actually, it's like, I have my mother at home who is 82. She primarily stays in her room. Though I don't even go out, but still I keep a little bit of distance with her. I don't go and be with her at close vicinity. And my son goes out for shopping something, so he also does not go to her when he comes back, you know. So I think that's what you are trying to tell, that we should
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
what is the best course of action, because
Yeah.
the school is not saying that if you don't come to school, we will not teach you. Am I right, ma'am?
No, yeah. So the school is saying it will be more of a voluntary thing, but you see, they had to open because, you know, at least the class 11th and 12th, they need the laboratory exposures, the practical
Yeah.
experiments. That wasn't happening. And then, you know, boards, our curriculum is such that we need a lot of practical knowledge to happen as well. Everything cannot be virtual.
Yeah, I understand.
They had, and then, you know, even in the US they've already opened schools, you know, even the smaller classes, and universities are opening up. So and they have far greater numbers compared to ours. So that's why they decided, you know, that, you know, and corona isn't going anywhere, you can see that. So they had to take the decision of opening in a staggered way and see how things go. And well, it will be a step at least, you know, and they will see how things, what happens. And, you know, at least this, you know, kind of webinars, you know, the awareness that's being created, that will also, you know, go a long distance, you know.
So I think, Dr. Sangeeta, the most important thing here is for all of us not to take all these precautionary measures in a very casual manner. I think that is what is
Absolutely.
the most important thing, that, you know, especially youngsters when they are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, they think that
They
nothing is
understand.
going to touch them. Nothing is going to touch them. Maybe nothing will touch them. They will not even know. But they can come back and give it to their elderly parents or grandparents or somebody who is sick at home. So I think it is not a rocket science learning. That what you are reiterating is the same thing, the social distancing, making sure the mask is worn correctly, and hand hygiene, you know, carrying a hand rub. I think in my home I have this kind of bottles everywhere. And believe me, practically speaking, we don't interact with anyone and no one comes home, but I have people coming home because I have to call a plumber sometimes, I have to call somebody because some repair is there. But when they come, I'll make sure that they're wearing the mask properly, they are using a hand rub, and they are nowhere near my mother. And
Mm.
my son makes sure that I am away from that person. In case I am not wearing mask, he'll say, Mama, agar kaam dekhna hai, mask pehno. So we do that even at home also. So I'm sharing this story to everyone to say, for God's sake, do not let the guard down. I'm not saying don't get back to school, don't get back to the any place that you want, but provided that you are disciplined enough to follow these basic advices. And then in case you are sick, then don't go out, don't meet anyone, you know. And they say that open air is the best place to be in case you need to meet. Even if they say that if elderly person, if you want to meet, if that person can come in open air, let the person come to open air, you stay 6 feet 6 feet away, and then you can talk. So there are guidelines for everything, and I think the most important thing is to follow them. They're very basic. So let me again ask the public here that, you know, you can come on the video, and then if you have a question, please go ahead and ask the question. Yes, I think Haya, where did Haya Siddiqui? We had a little child here. Where are our little attendees here? You should,
Ramjot was also there. Elena
yeah,
was also there. Yeah.
come on, come on the video. Friends, you can ask question. Unless you ask question, it will not be interactive. How will we know that what are the questions you have when it comes to children that you are going to send them back to school? Do you have any questions? Hello? I was going to get that little kiddo who came in much early. I think we lost her. She's not here anymore. Anyone? Hello? Susan, you have any question to ask? Okay, all are saying thank you for useful information. You must ask questions so that we know. I don't have a kid going back to school, so I can only kind of ask questions which are relevant to me, not to everybody, I guess. So if you have questions, especially teachers. So what do you think, ma'am? If teachers are not well, should they be going to school?
Absolutely not.
They
The
should not.
same, no, they shouldn't come to school then.
So even like some people, they say they have a normal, their seasonal flu they get. Even that also they should not be going, right?
Well, yeah, that also needs to be checked out because
Exactly.
the symptoms of coronavirus are very similar
To the seasonal flu.
to the seasonal flu. There is very less difference between the two. So, I would say stay home, even if that is there,
Okay, okay.
and get that checked out.
So, ma'am, the about the vaccine. So I have a relative staying abroad, and they are all waiting for the vaccine to come to get back to normal life. So I have this doubt all the time that even if the vaccine comes, even after all the trial, does it mean that our good habits should go away? Not spitting in the public, and not coughing on somebody. The
Yeah.
basic etiquette that we have kind of learned, which was always there
Yes.
because of Corona, it came back. Should we just give
Yeah.
up and start spitting on all the staircases?
No, we should not give up those etiquettes because I hope they will stay forever, because
Yeah.
that can reduce so many kinds of illnesses, even the flu for that matter. So I hope it's there to stay. The respiratory etiquettes, the the cleanliness, the sanitation, I hope that's there to stay now.
Yeah.
Vaccine will come that will further improve our immunity. So let's hope it comes at the soonest, because but we can't expect it before mid of next year.
Okay.
So far we are seeing that.
So I have one more question. Since the public is not asking question, I will only ask those questions, since I have got your attention, and probably it will help them also. So somebody else was kind of, saying कि कोई बात नहीं, herd immunity तो बनना है, तो हम ऐसे ही चलते हैं, तो ये सही है क्या? ऐसे करना चाहिए?
Nahi, nahi. You know what? I was going through that particular question, in fact, and the WHO people were discussing about this, and herd immunity will not come after this exposure either, because it is the antibodies even after the disease are very short-lived.
Yes.
So the herd immunity will happen only after vaccination, actually.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's the situation. You would think that the disease will affect everybody and we'll get a herd immunity. No, it's not the case. It will happen only after the vaccination.
So I think the summary of this discussion is that to be aware how corona spreads, to be aware what are the precautions, and most importantly, the elite attendees here, I think many of them are from healthcare only. They are already aware what they need to be done. So I think most important one is to practice all that at home and then educate more people. And where possible, even in your own group, you can have a small Zoom meeting, explain to them, that this is the basic precaution. Maybe you don't need to get into everything. The 4 or 5 things which are very best and basic practices, if you are able to educate our family, our friends, our extended family, our extended friends, we do meet them for many other occasion. I would say that even I'm guilty of not talking about once in a while we do talk, but when we get together, I think this is something we should discuss, especially the safety of the family early at home, and the kids, and especially the older kids who are now going to go back to school. They are going to be in the lab, and in case the school is not adhering to the guidelines, teach them how much a 6 meter looks like, 6 feet looks like, just let them know that this is the distance one should keep, and in case they are put in the class very close or they're in the lab very close, they should raise their voice. This is what we should teach our children. They should
Yes.
not say कि school वालों ने ऐसे कर दिया. The problem is once it happens, nobody is suffering except us and our children, our dear ones. We are going to suffer. So then why to take the risk when we know there is a risk, 100% risk involved? Then why should we be so courageous and say I will take the risk? It is not like that, you are saying that I will go for paragliding because I know paragliding and I can take the risk. That's okay, because you know that in case something happens, then you will go down. That's it. Here it is not one person going down. Along with one person, many other people will tag along. So it's like we are as good as our neighbor or our next person who is sitting beside us. On the screen, we all are very, very close, but then we are not at risk. That's why we are meeting like this. So I really hope that if you have any more questions, so please do ask. And so I don't have any typed questions here, Dr. Sangeeta. And if you have any questions or if you have anything to share, please feel free that you don't have to come on the video. You can even be on the audio before we wrap up this session. So let me give that 2-3 seconds to all of you in case you have any question to ask Dr. Sangeeta Subudhi around this topic of, back to school or college where our kids are going back. And is there anything that you would like to ask from your own practical concerns?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon, Bismi.
I'm Bismi. I'm working in Saudi Arabia. I'm a healthcare personnel. So recently, I had seen that Kawasaki diseases are seen in children after the COVID. I don't know whether it is correct or not. I had seen this news from Hindustan Times. And many of the cases, I think around 50 cases reported in India. Most of the cases are from Maharashtra and some cases from Delhi also. And also, apart from that, in the US also reported Kawasaki in children after the COVID. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I have a doubt how it's affecting the children. How we can, as a mother, how we can identify whether it is a common cold or it's a complication of COVID.
So basically, very, very good question. So what's happening in, which has been reported, it's called the multi-organ inflammatory syndrome, MISC. So this is being reported in a lot of kids and adolescents, and a lot of case reports are coming from Delhi also. We are not sure why it's happening. See, the exact pathophysiology is still not clear why it's happening, but it is happening even in the first week of illness to up to even 3 weeks of the illness. And the syndrome is quite similar to the appearance of the Kawasaki syndrome. So it is responding to the IV immunoglobulins. Now, yes, this syndrome is being there and it is having a high mortality rate, but the number of kids or the number of people affected is still a very, very low percentage. So I would not like to frighten anyone. So it is being recognized and it is there. You're right.
Thank you, Bismi, for that very interesting question. I was trying to stay away from that. As Dr. Sangeeta said, people should not get frightened. And this has come a few months ago already it was reported, right? They were little.
I didn't want to.
Yeah, especially the US people, they were kind of confused what is happening here. Then slowly that became a kind of an established, syndrome where they say multi-organ, inflammatory. And I think, ma'am, it comes much later, right? And it does not happen while the infection is there, right? They get the infection and then it comes much later, right?
Yeah, we have also, we've seen a couple of kids within the 1 week also with, breathing difficulty as well. But on a general this thing, after 2 to 3 weeks of the illness.
Okay.
And that too, they were asymptomatic, those kind of kids also. So the exact pathophysiology or why it happens or which person is predisposed to it, it's still not clear.
Just like corona, even in adults, we have learned over a period of time. So when it happened, how confused we were that how to treat, when to treat, what to give, what not to give. At least now when it comes to adults, because of the numbers and the research that has gone on, there is some clarity as to, okay, by and large, if you give this, patient can respond better. But there is, it's now again not a sure
It's still
shot
not sure,
that
yeah.
you give this and you'll be fine. It is not like that. Okay, thanks, Bismi, for that question. Does anybody has any other question? Anyone? So if we don't have any other question, so I would ask Dr. Sangeeta to give us your last piece of advice before we say bye to everyone. So you can give your last piece of advice, and then I say thanks to, and then we close the show today. So what would you tell as your parting advice, Dr. Sangeeta? Hello? Hello?
So I would like to say, coronavirus is there to stay with us. We need to live with it. We need to find ways to go about it. I don't want more mental problems. And I want everybody to be aware of how to prevent it from happening, to create awareness for everyone, to wear the mask every day, to have the respiratory etiquettes, to pass that on to kids. I want everyone to have their vaccinations all done so that at least the vaccination induced illnesses are not there. We are expecting a huge surge for that. Please get your vaccinations in order for your kids and to have a healthy lifestyle in place, that to maintain regular habits of sleeping, of eating, of having good communication with everyone, and to reduce screen time as far as possible, to remain positive.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am. Thank you for clarifying my doubts, ma'am.
Thank you, Bismi, and thank you, everyone. Since there are no more questions, I would like to offer a very official thank you very much to each one who coming here, and those who could not join us. I'm sure that there have been some people watching on the Facebook. This recording will be available maybe in 2 days' time on our YouTube. We will let you know through our Facebook. And thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta, for being on Signia Healthcare and spending this 1 hour with us on a Sunday. And that had been hugely helpful. Thank you very much. And God bless each and everyone along with your family, friends, and dear ones. And thank you to all the healthcare workers for being there, looking after the sick ones. And what else to say? Let God help us to continue to be protected, and that's the least that we can do for each other. So God bless you and have a blessed Sunday. Take care and take care of each other, and bye bye, and thank you very much. We'll see you in another webinar. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you.